The History Man with Terry Kringle.
Hello. The collapse of the Isle of Man Savings and Investment Bank in 1982 is remembered vividly to this day. Depositors all over Britain and beyond lost millions of pounds. But it was nothing new in Manx banking history. 82 years earlier, Dumbell's Bank in Douglas went under in a big way and brought financial ruin to thousands of people and companies in the Isle of Man itself. Its premises were at the bottom of Prospect Hill at Number 1, the fine Victorian building which still stands there today. It simply failed to open for business on Saturday, February the 3rd, 1900, which came to be remembered as Black Saturday. It was never to reopen, and nearly every family in the island was hit by it in one way or another. People lost their savings and jobs, businesses went bankrupt, and confidence was heavily undermined. 8,000 depositors, including Douglas Corporation and the government, were at risk of losing their money. The shock was all the greater because Dumbell's Bank had been regarded as rock solid for more than half a century. Its founder, George William Dumbell, was a lawyer, businessman, and MHK, a wealthy pillar of Manx society. The Jubilee clock in Douglas was one of his gifts to the town. But in 1878, the year before he died, he made a man called Alexander Bruce, a Scotsman, the bank's general manager, who became the man largely responsible for much of what was to happen. At the time, the Isle of Man was having something of an economic boom, and the visiting industry developing rapidly, and there were business opportunities galore. Bruce recognized this, and he got the bank involved in all sorts of ventures which were allowed to run up substantial overdrafts. In time, the bank had nearly £250,000 in overdrafts. Things got out of control, and it seems Bruce realized that the bank was seriously overstretched. Towards the end of 1899 he was taken ill, suffering from worry and stress, and attempts were made to sell the bank. They failed, and on the fatal Saturday morning of February the 3rd, 1900, the bank's doors remained firmly closed, and rumours began to fly, with increasing numbers of depositors gathering outside wanting to get their money out. Soon the commercial and business life of the island came to a virtual standstill. There was a criminal investigation which led to the arrest of 5 senior officials of the bank who were charged with fraud and brought to trial at the Court of General Jail in November 1900. They did not include Alexander Bruce, because he had died in June 1900. The others were found guilty and sent to prison for periods of up to 5 years. The damaging aftermath was considerable, and it was feared that the prosperity of the island would suffer and the good name of the Manx banking sector would be discredited in the world outside. In the event, nothing of the sort happened. The advance of the visiting industry was irresistible and economic growth continued. No doubt Dumbell's rival institution, the Isle of Man Bank, prospered as a result of it all. Meanwhile, the affairs of Dumbell's Bank were subject to liquidation. The task was given to the accountancy firm of W.H. Walker and Company with offices in Athol Street, Douglas. It was to take more than 20 years to complete. Creditors were sent dividends from time to time during this period, and the last of these went out in June 1922. This brought the total dividend paid to 12 shillings and 7.5 pence. The creditors still living actually got about 63% of their losses back. Not too bad, really. But the shadow of Black Saturday was to lie over the Isle of Man for a long time to come.